It's time for today's AM Minnesota program, and it's Fair Talk 2018. And why is John Dvorak frowning? Fair Talk.
Good morning. Good morning, Jerry.
We're going to be doing this every other week for a little while, and then we get closer to the Rice County Fair. It's once a week, and I was kind of glancing at the calendar. This is the 1st of May, about 2.5 months. It will be here.
Yeah, just about to the point where I'm starting to taste the fair food. It's not quite there yet, but it's just coming here pretty quick. It'll be here before you know it.
It was really fun a couple weeks ago when you mentioned the big announcement about the grant you got, the Rice County Fair from the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. It's going to be really cool. Hopefully the weather's getting a little lot nicer now so we can start building.
Yeah, hopefully so. The weather's nice, and I'm thinking that here in the next few days things will start to take shape there, and hopefully we'll get some posts set in the ground, and we can get started on it. So like everything else, it just takes a little while to get that initial work started, and but once we get it started, I'm hoping it'll go pretty quick, and excited about it. We've been having several meetings between the fair board, or myself, and the historical society, getting some plans in place, and just trying to figure out what's the best step and what's the best way to go and for displays, and so I think it's something that's really going to highlight the fair this year, and I hope it does, and I hope it draws a lot of interest, and it'll be a lot of fun. There's different ways every year you can do something different, and it'll be challenging, along with a lot of hard work, and but I think in the long run there'll be the fairgoers that will benefit from it.
And in case somebody missed the program 2 weeks ago, maybe we should back up. The grant from the Minnesota Department of Agriculture was for agricultural education purposes.
Correct.
And you got the grant, and we are going to build like a 19 eras miniature barn.
That's right. The barn itself, the footprint size of it will be 26 by 26, and not a real big barn, but yet big enough that we'll get our message across, and
about what agriculture was like in the day with the livestock.
Exactly. So when you had no electricity and you had no running water, and like I said, I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a challenge, and but yet at the same time, I think it's going to be something really, really special that we're going to have here at our fair.
And what's nice about it is you have the basic structure, but then you can kind of have it with this species of livestock, then you can kind of redo the interior for a different species.
Yes.
So you can always change it.
That's exactly right. And you'll be situated in such a way that we'll be able to build some small lean-tos if we need to house some other displays. I know one of the things that has been talked about for a long time, and some individuals wanted to come in with a blacksmith shop. So that's something that could probably be put into the lean-to, and something that people will be able to visualize it, and people will be able to see just how did they form these horseshoes that they needed to put on the horses, and how did they make different parts for different implements, and that was all done with putting a piece of steel in a hot fire and pounding it out on an anvil with a mallet, and so a sledgehammer. So a lot of people don't understand what it all took to get this stuff done. So it'll be fun to bring some of that stuff back to life, and to educate and show the people just how did this happen.
And we have to take a break for the markets here in about a minute, but what's great about it is it's going to be built on the east end, right next to the Historical Society. So they have things going on all the time, and they're hosting tours, so the building, the barn, will get used more than just the few days of the Rice County Fair. So that's great too.
Yep, that's the hopes. So and it'll be there, and they'll be able to use it for different programs, and have different. I know every year they bring a certain grade. I think they bring third graders down to the fairgrounds, to the Historical Society every year, and that's something that they'll be able to use for that. And so and throughout the rest of the year, they'll be able to use it how they see fit.
The program today is John Dvorak, who's the manager of the Rice County Fair. Just before the break, we were talking about the big announcement at the Fair Talk 2 weeks ago. You mentioned that kind of miniature barn that's going to be built at the Rice County Fair. Hopefully it'll be done by this fair. Started with a grant from the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, and it's, what did you say, John, 26 by 26?
Yeah, 26 by 26, and it's not hopefully it'll be done. It will be done before the fair.
Even if you have to hammer, right?
That's right. It will be done before the fair. So, yeah, it's going to be coming along. With such a late spring that we had, we were kind of hoping to be further along.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
Yeah. Look outside. There's no snow on the ground finally. So, we got a little delay. We'll get things in order, and we'll start working on it. And
you got the plans all set?
The plans are all set, and the plans are all drawn up. And so hopefully we can get enough volunteers together that most of the labor can be done with volunteers. So we were fortunate, like you said, we did get the grant from the state of Minnesota for that. And then the Historical Society itself has gotten some grants, or not grants, but donations also just for the project. So there's some other individuals that are graciously kicking in, and if anybody else would like to donate to this project, just contact Sue Garwood over at the Historical Society, and she'll gladly take down your information and set you up with whatever you want to donate. So everything is appreciated.
It's going to be built then with a lot of volunteers?
A lot of volunteers. We're hoping that we can get it built with volunteers.
And it sure helps if one volunteer knows a little bit about framing and being a carpenter, and to kind of direct the other people that can follow the lead when they're shown how to do something.
That's right.
And remember, when you're building it, John, you'll be there. Measure twice
and cut once. And hit the right nail too.
Maybe we've got a volunteer with a nail gun.
That's right. So it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a good time, and once we get started on it, it'll go pretty fast.
And the nice thing too is it's going to be a structure that is designed for Minnesota winter, snow load safety, thunderstorms, windstorms, but yet it's going to give you the impression of what a barn would have been like in the 1900s.
Yeah, I kind of call it, a old barn with new technology.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
That's right. And so, we can do a lot with decorating the inside the way to make it replicate an older barn, but the framing itself will be modern
codes and everything.
Yeah, right. So
they might how did they survive back then without codes, building codes?
I don't know, but some of them barns are still standing.
Been there for a long time.
Been there for a long time. So, yeah, I think over the years, you can learn from what went on years ago. Like you said, before we had codes, but codes are a good thing, and you need them because we want to make sure that everything is safe, especially when you have people coming in and out of the building, and so it's a good thing. So
and I assume you're going to have wiring and electrical, and maybe you can try and hide it at times, or because it'd be fun to walk into the barn and get an impression of what it was like back in the day. And I don't think they had electricity in 1900.
I don't think they did either. And there's an awful lot that you can do stuff. I mean, you can get battery operated lanterns and stuff like that to kind of replicate that. So I'm sure that's something that we can all, in years to come, can figure out a way to do this stuff. I don't know that there'll be electricity in it this year, but might be a lot of battery operated lanterns and stuff
or an extension cord.
Right. So but I think you're right, there was no electricity back then, and if we can replicate that, what it was like without electricity, that's something that's in the learning process too. So it'd be nice to be able to show something like that. And but I got a lot of confidence with the individuals over at the Historical Society, and I'm sure they'll come up with a great game plan, and it'll be an exciting one, and I know they'll do a good job.
And if someone wants to maybe help contribute or donate some time and labor, I assume Tara's doing her big job at the website. So if we're going to be building on Saturday, you need some help, or folks can just check the Rice County Fair website.
That's right, and I'm sure the Rice County Historical Society has a website, so there'll be plenty of information that people can look up and follow it. I'm hoping that we can kind of take pictures as we go along, and we can post them also, and you can kind of follow the progress. So it's modern technology, ain't it great? When it works.
If you know people like Tara that can do it for
That's
you.
right. That's right. So.
Well, it's a good thing that you have this project to keep yourself busy, because everything else, the fair board, you're so organized, everything else for the fair is all set to go, right? So we just have to wait for the calendar to click by.
Yeah, that was last year this time. Still working on some things. Things are coming together quite well. We have all the grandstand lineup is set. Pretty much replicate of what we did last year. We did on Wednesday night. We'll have the BMX bikes coming in again this year. Thursday night in the grandstand we'll have the enduro races. Friday night will be our second annual PRCA rodeo. The Barnes Rodeo will be coming in again this year.
The big time first class rodeo.
That's right. They put on a great show last year, and I'm sure it'll be even better this year.
And it was a little scary for the board last year, because you had the commitment to get them here, and you'd heard from folks that said that would be fun to have a rodeo. And, well, it took a lot of money to get him here, so thankfully folks came out and enjoyed it. And
yes, and
so
I
we're going to bring them back.
I hope we're bringing them back, and I hope even more folks come out and enjoy it. We have room for more individuals for the performance, and they put on a great rodeo, and it was really fun to have them, and it was a great show. A lot of people was all good comments about it, so I'm sure we can expect the same out of it this year. Saturday night.
The most important night at the Rice County Fair.
Well, for some people. The truck and tractor pull. I don't want to make no light of it, but the truck and tractor pull will be Saturday night.
That's been a mainstay for a lot of years.
Yeah, a number of years we've had it now. Yes, we have. There was only one year, I think it was 2 years ago, we had to cancel it because it couldn't drive into the infield, let alone walk in there.
We could have had a boat pull.
We could have. A mud run. But, that's just kind of
that's the way
what
it
happened.
I'll never forget, I was at the Rice County Forage Livestock Auction that morning. It was just pouring and just pouring. And although it's about mid-morning, it dawned on me, oh no, the truck and tractor pull tonight. And it was about a half hour later, you sent the word out, because some of these guys are driving from quite a distance to bring their tractors in.
It is, and fortunately, so before they come to our fair, they have 2 nights of pooling at 2 different locations. So they were all kind of gathered together at a truck stop, and before they came to our fair, they wanted to make sure it was going to be on. And that's when the decision was made, that we're going to cancel it. There was no sense of trying to bring them in, because there would have been no way they could have gotten into the infield to begin with, let alone try to get the track ready that time. So, you hate it to do it, but at the same time, you have to understand that these individuals, they have lives too, and you can't make them come and sit and wait. You have to make that decision so they can go on back home and get ready for the next pool. So, just one of those things that you have to stay on top of, and it's hard to make those decisions, but it's the right decision. It was no different than last year when we were supposed to open the carnival at 3 o'clock, and at 10 minutes to 3, we decided, we got to postpone opening it because we got some bad weather coming in, and fortunately we did postpone it, and we had the bad weather came in, and I know
that was a pretty severe thunderstorm.
Yeah.
We were under our tent, and figured we could ride it out there, and all at once the wind picked up, and the rain was coming in sheets, and we vamoosed over into the exhibit building, which was a solid structure. And that was kind of nice that you have some permanent structures that folks can head into when bad weather hits.
So, but fortunately it passed. It took a couple hours for it to pass, and things resumed. It was a little bit wet, but we made a go of it, and I think people enjoyed it, and we're glad that things did resume, and we found a different place to have our grandstand entertainment, and that was a lot of fun. And I think
boy, talk about improvising there with moving the BMX to the parking lot out back, and and some of the Rice County Fair crew were out there with little blow torches drying out the asphalt, and took the chairs from the Selner stage over, and everybody enjoyed it. So.
That's right. So, but you have to be resourceful, and sometimes things don't go like it plans, and you just have to make the best of it. And I think instead of going to Plan A there and to Plan B, I think we went all the way down to E and F. So.
And you heard what your employees at the Rice County Fair, when they were blowing the torches to dry up. Well, we went back to continue resuming on the air, and I sat in a wet chair, so a certain backside was a little wet, so they volunteered to dry it out for me.
But you didn't take up on them, I heard.
No, but they were trying to be helpful.
That's right. That's right. But then getting back to our grandstand, then Sunday afternoon we have the ever popular demolition derby, and we'll start that again Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and what was it, 2, 3, 4 years ago you moved it to earlier?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be in the evening, and now it's
now it's at 4 o'clock. So that was a good move, and people enjoy it, and it gives them just a little bit more time to get out of the show and enjoy. Take one more stroll through the midway, and one more stroll, and dipping into the pocketbook again for one last time to have the fair food. And so that turned out to be a good idea, and I'm glad we went ahead and did it. At the same time too, exhibitors that are there, that gives them time to gather up all their stuff and start leaving, and then they don't have to have that fight in the rush of the people getting into the demolition derby. They've kind of got their own little set time now where it's a little more peaceful there, and they can load up and start to leave. All the 4-H exhibitors can start to leave, and they don't have to be putting up with the traffic coming in. So there was a lot of things that went into that decision why to do it, and I think it worked out best for everybody. You're not gonna make it easy for everybody. There's always a disadvantage for some people, but I think in the long run, it was the right decision to make.
I always enjoy the Rice County Agriculture Hall of Fame program. We recognize all of the conservation awards, Farm Family of the Year, Century Farms. That Wednesday morning, that was added about 10 years ago, I think.
Actually, we celebrated our 10th anniversary.
But that, again, has been another great addition. It's become kind of a mainstay of the fair.
It is, and it's nice to see, and it's nice to see individuals come. Every year we have a great group of people that come out. We have a large crowd that comes out to it. It's kind of our one day a year that we can recognize agriculture here at the fair. And let's face it, agriculture is what built this county and built this country, and it's just kind of nice to keep going back to that, and recognizing individuals that played a big part in Rice County and that still play a big part in Rice County. I mean, agriculture has changed. It changes all the time, and for all these individuals that are out there working in the fields and running their farms, changing with the times, and so to be able to reward them for their efforts, I think that's important also.
And of course, sponsorship, supporters of the fair are critical to put on a great fair. Rice County Agriculture Hall of Fame, special thanks to Doug Gilbertson and the rest of the crew there at Nearstrand Agri Center for sponsoring that program every year.
That's right.
The plaques and the pictures and.
That's right, and then there's a ton of other people that I won't even begin to mention them because I hate to forget somebody, but there's a ton of other people that work behind the scenes to make this a successful event.
The kind of shy, quiet types like I am.
That's right. And but there are a lot of individuals that put countless hours into this, and I thank them. The Fair Board thanks them because it takes all these people, the volunteers, to not only put on that event, but all the individuals that volunteer during the fair, to put on the great fair.
And we always kick it off for the Fair Queen coronation on that Tuesday night. So hopefully we are getting some contestants, although I think usually you don't get gals signed up until
school's
kind
out.
of after school is out.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these gals are busy in school and finishing up the year, and that's kind of probably still on the back burner, a lot of their minds, but hopefully it'll start moving up to the front burner, and we'll get a good group of gals that want to take on and run for Fair Queen. It's always a fun event, and I think it's real rewarding for the individuals also. Another important aspect of the fair, you talk about sponsorship. I'm grateful to all the people that sponsor at the fair, whether it's big or small, and we have from all ranges. We have small sponsors and we have large sponsors. The fair wouldn't be able to run without them.
And a few small ones might end up as much as a big one.
Yeah.
And let's face it, you might be a smaller business, you can't, afford a huge sponsorship, but it all helps. And,
that's
and
right.
all
It
the
all
volunteers
helps.
help.
It's a lot of times, that smaller stone makes the bucket heavier, and that's the way it works with sponsorships too. So, I really appreciate all the individuals out there, all the companies out there, the organizations that do support the fair. If there's anybody out there that would still like to support the fair, you can contact me at my office or reach me by email. But we need that support, and that's what helps put on an entertaining fair, and not only entertaining but educational also. And we have a lot of educational stuff that's going to be happening at the fair this year, and I think people will really be excited about some of the stuff that's coming in.
A lot of the exhibitors already locked in?
A lot of the exhibitors are starting to lock in. The food vendors, I'm pretty almost full with the food vendors to our amount that we have coming in at the fair. No, not
still
too
working
sure.
on that one.
Still working on that. We got some commercial vending spaces that are still available, some outside vending spots that are still available. So, but slowly, as summer goes on, those will start to fill up, and we welcome everybody that we try and find you a spot. We've never turned nobody away yet. So,
well, we're fortunate we have such a big area out
that's
there.
Right. That's right. So, but it gets tough. With today's Amazon and all that, that's really, putting a dent into a lot of our commercial exhibits. But there's still companies out there that still want to be out there, and they want to have that eye contact, and they want to have that personal contact, and that's why we're there. And so it takes a big group of individuals and organizations, for everything to come together to have a great fair. And when we get all these commercial vendors coming in, that really helps.
The Kids Carnival is going to be in the same area again on the east side? It
is. Kids Carnival will be like it is, and the adult rides will be on the west side, and the kids will be on the east side, and that's working out very well. A lot of compliments on that, and it's always busy, and I think most people that I know appreciate it. That's going to tie in real well, with the Historical Society, because they have a lot of events that it's geared towards children, and kids can get out there and experience some of the fun, and they do a great job over there at the Historical Society, finding activities for all ages. But I think they do a lot of catering to the younger individuals, and so it's just kind of that whole area just kind of ties it in.
And the other thing you need to mention, come to mind, we've only got about 3.5 minutes left.
Man, how time flies when you're having fun. No, like I said, I appreciate all the sponsorship we get. If there's any individuals out there that want to volunteer at the fair this year, we welcome all volunteers. We can always use help.
I volunteered to be the official food tester.
Okay, well, you try that out and don't
see how far it gets me.
That's right. Don't come looking for me when you need some Pepto-Bismol. But yeah, it's now now that the sun is out, the grass is starting to green up, and all of a sudden it's everything's starting to wake up, and that's always an exciting time of the year for me. When that grass starts to get green and really get your blood flowing, like, oh my, here the fair's going to be here before you know it.
Well, and then you start getting serious with all the maintenance that needs to be done every year.
That's right. And so we have a great maintenance crew, and We have a lot of activities now that are booking at the fair grounds, using the various buildings. So June 13th we have a circus coming into town, so they'll be at the fairgrounds. So excited about that coming in. So things.
There's a rodeo different times throughout the summer.
We have some Mexican rodeos coming in throughout the summer. I think the first one of those is May 27th. So it's coming.
But it's great to see that nice facility be used more than just the 6 days of the Rice County Fair once a year. That's what's nice to see, it being used more.
Yeah, you're right. And we do have other activities, and there's a lot of people that come out there and have fundraisers. So you're right. It's a great facility, and let's take advantage of it and we'll use it. And you're right. For 6 days of the fair, we want to go beyond that, and we're glad that we can provide that grounds for other events.
And many of the buildings are being used all winter long, rented out for boats and cars, and I even saw a tractor out there driving by once.
That's right. So, and before we leave here, Jerry, I just want to say a big hello to my little granddaughter. I know she's listening, Hazel. Glad you could listen in today, Hazel, and hope you enjoyed the show.
And make sure Grandpa takes you to the Rice County Fair. Lots of fair food and kiddie rides.
That's right.
And then make Grandpa go on the zipper.
Yeah.
So the question is, when Hazel gets old enough to go on the zipper, will Grandpa go with her?
I think Grandpa will be way too old by then.
Grandpa will be more than happy to pay for the ticket, right?
That's right.
That's for the younger crowd.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So once again, want to stay in tune to what's going on and maybe where you can pitch in and help, go to the Rice County Fair website. It's ricecountyfair.org, is it?
.net.
.net, okay.
ricecountyfair.net, yeah. And Tara does a great job with that, and there's a lot of information on there, and we keep putting all the information on there, so we'll keep you up to tune.
And stay tuned for maybe some pictures of the 1900s era barn being built.
That's right.
Very soon at the Rice County Fair.
That's right.
Remember, measure twice, cut once, and use a level.
That's right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you much, Jerry.
John Dvorak, the manager of the Rice County Fair, with our Fair Talk 2018. The time was 10 o'clock, so we go to news from ABC right here on KDHL.